What's up guys, Trev Burke here for GT Bikes. I'm standing at the top of the Maxis Kicking Horse downhill course with Adrian Latier Nadeau, aka ALN. It's been a wild week at the Crankworx Summer Series. It's about to get more wild. Let's go get your stance course preview done. Woo! Drop it in, Pioneer. Rush in. Start the down track, wouldn't drop into a rock slab. Starts off pretty hectic straight away. It's on ALN, straight in your first rock slab, like 10 seconds in. Back into another rock slab. Nice little cash bam. What's up, Miller? Down this rooty chute. Then we get that nice high line, set stuff up good to that corner. Oh. Woo. We do everything on this trail. Rock slabs, roots, big holes, steeps. A lot of slippery roots right now. Hopefully dries up for racing. If not, people are gonna get real wild.
Okay, new track. We're off the enduro course that we did. So I don't know what these are. Feel sick. Probably a rest and recollect. Oh!
These are the bars through these tight trees. They don't make it. They're following ALN in this little high-line root gap. Woo! Super rooty and muddy here. Whoa, on these rocks in this fresh section. Oh, coming close to the finish now. Little natural berms. Whoa! Loose! Freshly cut trail for us. Thanks, Kicking Horse. It is like grass turn. Holy crap! Wow. It's super wild. Off camera, a lot of people are gonna bin it. See it. Woo. And then maybe try the inside, straight to the finish line. Whoa, I'm gonna miss this pole. Woo. And across the line. Woo. And that's your stance course preview for the Maxis Kicking Horse downhill race. The course is super gnarly. Don't forget to tune in at 2:30 Pacific time to watch the action go down.
Especially the last finish straight.
Woo, it's wild.
So now you know what the course is all about. Let's get to some racing. Picking her up in the middle of her run right here. I know a Yurko on course.
Right there was where Trevor tried to put his bars through that tree. I've never seen anything like that before. I feel like there's three things that stood out for me on this course. One, that it's reminiscent of Mount St. Anne. You have rock slabs and those turns like you saw Eriko go through. I'll skip to my number 3, which is these grass turns, which are incredibly steep. I've never ridden any grass turns that are loose and open like that, in addition to being on this crazy steep incline. And my number 2 is that ALN is pinned, so I'm excited to see how she does. But Eriko coming through.
There we go. First rider to cross the finish line, so obviously she'll slot in to first place. The time to beat 3 minutes and 50 seconds from the youngest competitor in our women's field. Speaking of that women's field, let's take a look at what the Crankworx Summer Series overall standings look like for the women, Elliot.
Yeah, we see ALN like slowly but surely creeping up, and Baya still in the lead there. So, you know, she doesn't think of herself as being a downhill racer. You know, I've always thought of her that way. So I'm interested to see how she does. I know she's ridden Mount St. Anne a lot, and I was talking about how this is a similar course to me, having not been there, but I think she'll fare well here.
Well, the women's field is close enough when you look at those CSS overall standings to the point where this race, the results could definitely shake things up. Next rider about to drop in, 19-year-old from the Sunshine Coast, BC, Lucy Chick.
Yeah, and she, I was looking through her Instagram, she's not a downhill racer. She hasn't done that many downhill races, but she is, I think, naturally gifted at it because I maybe had mentioned that before, but she got fourth in her first downhill race on her trail bike. So, you know, with her being on this downhill bike now, I think it's just going to help. There's a couple of spots here. I think the riders have ridden that top part in the enduro.
Oh, this is, judging by that course preview, this is where they get off of that stage that they were familiar with, and they go into this unknown territory. It's nice because you figure they're racing 4 days in a row. It's nice that they were able to kind of practice for downhill while doing the enduro, but you got to figure, we watched them all day yesterday doing slalom. They weren't practicing on this course. They had to cram study for this race.
I know, that's such an interesting thing. I think most people would be, you normally have like a Saturday practice and a Sunday race, but they're doing everything in one day. So it's a battle. And I wonder if the enduro racers feel more comfortable, you know, because they're so used to learning stuff. Lucy going through these turns at the bottom. I think this one's kind of the tightest one.
It looked so slick this morning in practice when it was just wet grass. I feel like, do you think it's going to be more traction the more traffic this course gets and some of that grass goes away?
I wonder. So Lucy was just a little bit off of Ayoko's time, and I think that there's, when you have grass that kind of gets eaten away, sometimes it can get more traction, but then at the same time you have these, I don't even know. It's almost like little tiny roots, right? Like you shave off all the good stuff on the grass that could give you traction, and it's just like these bare bones.
So this is a look at our start list right here. We saw Anoa Ayurko drop first. Lucy Schick came through in second place. We still have yet to go Georgia Astle, Miranda Miller, ALN, Casey Brown, and the overall leader at this moment in time, Via Verbeek. So I like how they're doing this. They're dropping them in reverse order of their overall standings. So right now, Georgia Astle, an opportunity to pick up some points. She's currently sitting in 5th place. But we spoke with her before Psychosis, and this is what she had to say.
Well, I mean, for sure Psychosis, but I'm so excited, and I feel like it's going to be really cool. Like, it obviously be really cool if we got to keep racing this year after year, but I mean, looking at the history books, it's pretty iconic that we get to do this. And I've heard some talk of a really large finishing jump and the insane steeps at the top. So no matter what, Psychosis is going to be crazy for all of us. But I'm so excited for it. It's going to be insane.
And it was insane. What do you think? Is it like El Nino, a storm cycle that only comes around every few years, or do you think we're going to see this again next year?
Well, I mean, that's something to be said. I think as a racer, when you get that chance, like we've all grown up watching that, you know, watching Stevie and watching Sam Hill on those courses. So you're building up in your mind, like, you know, you're like, oh yeah, like I would have done that. Couldn't have been that bad. Or like, I'm so excited. I know it's gnarly, but so to get the opportunity to do that as a racer is really special. And I think that's kind of what Georgia was talking about is you have to make the most of it and enjoy it while you have the chance.
And enjoy it, then go to sleep and wake up and race slalom, and then go to sleep and wake up and race downhill, non-stop, relentless format here as we find ourselves in the middle of the Max's Kicking Horse downhill race. I know Ayurko currently sitting in the top spot, but plenty more to challenge that time left to go.
I was, a quick note about Psychosis that I thought was really interesting was back the last time he raced it, Chris Kabarik won it with a 12:35, and Claire Bouchard won the women's with the 17:02. And this year, you know, Finn won it with an 11, or I mean, I'm sorry, Henry won it with an 11 something, and ALN won it with a 14:32. So the gap was only 3 minutes this time, a little bit less than 3 minutes. So I think the women's racing, you can see how much more competitive it is. So
yeah, I mean,
Georgia.
That's just a tangible piece of evidence to show how much progression there's been in the women's field in the last few years. We've seen that on the Crankworx World Tour, and it is not slowing down. It's an exponential curve of progression for the women. We have our next competitor on course right now, which should be who we just heard from, Georgia Astle. Let's see if we can catch her on screen. There she is.
You know, and I keep like having this kind of same train of thought of like these Canadian riders riding these Canadian tracks. but it's also interesting because they're all Canadians. So and Georgia's just pinned. I think that it's always interesting when you have these types of tracks. The top part we saw in the course preview was really rock slabby, really rough, and then you have a pedal in the middle, and then you get back into the roughness. So Georgia looks super aggressive. Like you can tell she's really like moving the bike around, really going through the rough stuff super fast. I think this is probably going to be our top time.
Yeah, she's charging. The time to beat is a 3:50. She's sitting at 3:20 right now, so 30 seconds left to cross the finish line if she's going to take over the lead. She's already in the final flat turns.
Yeah, it's. I think it says something when you do get that good result and you can get some confidence. Just like knowing that you can ride, you know, just knowing that you can do it. But I mean, you're talking about the women's field being close, and she's only 5 seconds up. It's a lot, but it's not that much.
I mean, that's good for Ayurko. You know, she held on to that top spot for one rider, and then she's only 5 seconds back here. So the youngster holding her own, but Georgia Astle knocking Ayurko out of the hot seat.
It sounds like Georgia might have had a little bit of an off-track excursion.
So if that's the case, then it would leave the door open here for Miranda Miller to smash this time. If Georgia Astle in fact had an issue, here's the list of accolades. She's 30 years old. She's got all the experience in the game. And she's the next competitor who has the opportunity to grab that hot seat. And I mean, this seems like a course that she would definitely thrive on. Would you agree, Elliot?
I would. I think she's got the Lit Kit award today too. Look good. You ride good. You ride good. No, I'm off. Something like that.
I want those bark busters back. I love the bark busters.
Yeah, right. I feel like you're
on the
busting
course
bark on a downhill bike.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you take the bark busters off for this track? Be running for everything else. Slalom, you run it for slalom. Maybe she was planning on using them to smash the gates.
Oh, heard a rim there and a root.
Yeah.
That section, what is it called, Cam?
Some sort of great play on words. It's not the root of all eagles, it's the root of all evil, I think, which makes more sense, but it would be funny if it was the root of all eagles. Just to mess with people. Okay, Miranda Miller, she's got 15 seconds left to cross the finish line in the top spot. She's, of course, going to do it unless something crazy happens here, like an asteroid. Boom, Miranda Miller through the line, 4 seconds ahead of Georgia Astle. That's a new time to beat, 3:40.6. Miranda Miller in the lead.
Yeah, and these riders, I mean, like Henry was talking about, the heat. Miranda, I texted her and she said the same thing, like the heat at Mount 7 was just insane. So going from there into slalom, into this is, good.
Yeah, slalom was raining, so heat at Psychosis, rain and slalom. At least they're getting good weather here for downhill. But wow. Talk about momentum and coming into your own here. ALN. Let's just break it down. We got her, stats on the screen, but in enduro, boom, she won. Slalom, second place. Psychosis, first place. So obviously she's climbing the ranks there. She's sitting in third place in the CSS Championship Series right now. And if I'm one of her competitors, I'm nervous right now because she is on pace.
She is. I feel like that was a perfect, like, the look she had in that picture goes perfect for this week. It's like, yeah, won a bunch of races, no big deal. Like I said in the helmet cam, man, she looks so fast. You can tell just by the corner speed. Like, slow in, fast out. Really, she's kind of fast everywhere. But this, like, this little part here, she'll be super aggressive on. I think they found that high line, like they were talking about in the Speed of All Evil section. So she'll go up there and try to just make sure she carries speed, because one thing to look at as she comes out of this section, you can't quite get pedals coming into the little roller and into the turns. So right here is really important. You can't get pedals here, but you need to carry the speed all the way into this next section.
You can tell by watching her ride that physically she's very much on point. And when you hear her talk, you know that her mental focus is peaking as well. So this could be dangerous. But look, she's not in the flat corners yet. She's got 15 seconds to make it through the line. This could be close.
It'll be close.
Oh, it's going to be really close.
It's so nerve-wracking, the bottom.
Come on, go!
Oh,
Okay, she is not going to go into the lead, but every ranking spot means more points. ALN through the line in what now would be good enough for third place with two more riders to go. So guaranteed at least 5th place points here, which would be 55 points. Miranda Miller looking cozy in that hot seat.
Oh, wow. Down.
All right, as ALN walks her friends through her runs, we're going to focus on who we have next on track. She's got 540 points, meaning she is 65 points out of the lead behind Via Verbeek. Her name is Casey Brown. She wins whip-offs. She wins enduros. Look out for her in downhill, because that is what she is very, very good at with that ODI 420 number plate, looking to do some damage.
I feel like she's just a girl that can do anything. Like, anything you put in front of her, no matter what, she's just going to crush it. You put her out in Utah, she'll do some crazy drop out there. You put a downhill course in front of her, you put an enduro course in front of her. She's just an incredible bike rider.
Put her at the top of Corbett's couloir in the winter, and she'll do it. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. So
Yeah,
Casey Brown right now hanging out in 2nd place in the overall, behind Via Verbeek, who will be the last to drop.
Man, that section there is getting so rough. And I think Casey, too, has just been really consistent this week. She hasn't been able to, you know, blow everything out of the water like she did the first week, but, you know, she's still right there. So
Look at
I think
this!
for her,
Check it out,
oh
Elliot!
my
She's in the middle of the final straightaway. She's got 20 seconds to burn with only one rider left to drop. Casey Brown will go into the lead. The question is by how much. She almost gets kicked over the bars, but look at that, by 11 seconds. New time to beat 3:28.7, held by Casey Brown.
Man, oh man.
All right, well, we're going to find out who's going to win here pretty soon. One rider left. We caught up with Via Verbeek earlier. This is what she had to say.
It's funny because a lot of people will like refer to me as like the downhill rider, and like I got a downhill background and that's where my strength is. And personally, I actually feel like downhill racing is my weaker spot in Crankworx. And it might come with the fact that it's usually most often the last race of the week. So I've been putting so much energy and so much focus onto all the other events that coming into downhill, I'm like, it's kind of like leftovers. It's like, we'll see what comes out of the last bit of energy or time I have.
Very competitive, and hopefully somebody told her right now that the rider in 2nd place in the overall is now comfortably seated in that red hot seat with a big margin between her and 2nd place. Via Verbeek, she's gonna see if she can get some more points right here, but this could be the opportunity for Casey Brown to surpass her in that lead unless Via has a perfect run.
Man, I know. Yeah, you've been hearing me talk about how I've kind of always thought about Maya as a downhill specialist, just growing up riding World Cups with her. But I think it says something that she's now able to have the Crankworx World Series to show the rest of her talent. So she's going to have to put it down today to make sure that she can to gain points instead of lose points to Casey.
So while we're talking about people's strengths, Vaya, we heard her just say that downhill is not her strongest. What would you say for Casey Brown? Would you say downhill is her main event?
Man, I don't even know, right? Like, she's just good at everything. She raced World Cups as well. I think all of these women are just so good at everything. It's really cool to see the amount of talent. I don't know if she's gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be so close.
Man, I think Casey looked so good on this course, and I'm just looking at how much time there is between Vi and that finish line right there. Oh, as the clock ticks down, she's only got 3 seconds left. She is not going to do it. Casey Brown will win the race. Via Verbeek will slot into second place. Wow, the difference there, 15 points. Casey Brown will pick up 15 points. She's 65 back, so she will narrow that margin. She'll still be in second place in the overall. Big win for Casey Brown.
That is. Yeah, she really did need that win to. She needed that win to get some points back on Vaya.
Yeah. Basically, great defense, would you say?
Right. Yeah.
The best defense is a strong offense.
Right. Yeah, I think you can win the series if you just win the races.
It's like cornhole, you know? I think I figured it out. You got to get the beanbag in the hole, you know? I think I cracked the code.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Turns out it's just simple as that. If you win a lot of races, you get the most points. I cannot believe the week they've had, and to watch these athletes looking so strong. Like Casey just looked on point right there. I'm gonna check in with her. She's got a headset on. Casey, congratulations. Was it a perfect run? We only got to see part of it, but you looked spot on the whole time.
Thanks, Cam. I had a couple little lines that were off, but otherwise it was one of the smoother runs I've had in a really long time. So I'm so stoked.
We're trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the athletes here and try to imagine what it's like to race 4 days in a row. One of those days, in the case of this week, was psychosis. Are you a little bit more fatigued this week than you were last week after all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really crazy racing every day, and it's so hard on your body. Holy crap, like I've never been so fatigued, and having to just keep going and keep going. It's a true test of how tough you are.
Well, congratulations. You played some good defense right there and got some points to try to narrow that margin between you and Vaya. I'm on pins and needles. I can't wait to watch you guys race next week.
Thank you, Cam.
Well, what a run for Casey Brown. To hear that she put 2.8 on Via Verbeek and may have had a couple mistakes in there off camera is so impressive. And yeah, even more so than the men's category. It's fun to watch this women's series overall, you know, just shake down because they're so tight.
It's so true. Like, you know, the whole field. There's not really anyone that we were counting out for the win, and like you said, it's just so exciting.